we are bringing you the details of a special ARCSI opportunity to learn something that you need. We know that in today's business climate, that finding good workers is tough. And so there is a Hiring the Best Employees Bootcamp that's going to be available soon. Debbie Sardone, the founder of Cleaning for a Reason, is with us today, along with Shawn and Liz Trotter, industry experts. And each of them are going to talk to you about what you can take away from this event. But Debbie, let's start with you. I know you're the host of this boot camp and the kickoff speaker, so you know a thing or two about this. Tell us what you are doing and when. Give us some details.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for letting us come and share this information today. The ARCSI Hiring Bootcamp starts March 10th, so very, very soon, March 10th at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to focus on part one of the boot camp, hiring the best. And then less than a month later, May 12th, will be part two of the ARCSI Hiring Boot Camp. And we're going to cover retaining the best employees. So this is a difficult time for everybody, Jeff. Hiring the best and then retaining the best requires strategies and expert advice from some of our top industry leaders in residential cleaning. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll wrap it up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, all the details will be right here in the show notes, but you will visit arcsi.org/bootcamp 2022. It's free for ARCSI members, and it's significantly reduced for non-members. And if you just use Bootcamp 49 as your coupon code, you'll get in with another $50 off for those non-members.
Great details, Debbie. Thank you for sharing that. Shawn Day, let's go to you and ask you this question. Tell us about your involvement and why it's important now to attend and use the strategies from this virtual boot camp.
Thanks, Jeff. As always, I'm just super humbled to be on with Liz and Debbie, because they're just titans in this industry and so amazing. So thank you. We have an automated recruiting system at our company, and we hired over 40 employees at just one location alone. And we also hired well over 100 employees last year. So it can be done. And that's what I'm going to show people basically. But it's very important timing right now, because typically January and February are by far the easiest months to recruit, if you will. And that tends to be true every single year. And that's data from Indeed and other job boards and some other places. And I remember I told Tom Stewart that, and Tom said, I know the exact date because I know somebody that provides that data and looks at that data, and it's January 8th. And so it is. Well, guess what month it is? It's March. You're falling behind if you don't have things figured out. You're going to definitely need to boost and sponsor to find employees. That gets much more expensive to find those employees if you're not doing it in January and February. So March, it's still okay. You get past March, forget about it. It's gonna be very difficult to find employees.
Thank you, Shawn. That makes total sense, and it's important to jump on this now. Now's the opportunity. Liz Trotter, I know you're one of the presenters, one of our experts as well. Tell us what you think about this.
Well, so I'm super excited to be on the Hiring Boot Camp. This is such a big deal this year. More important than any other year. Things are just so different, and we always struggle in our industry, right? It's feast or famine in this industry. But this year, more than any other, we're really seeing this constraint of the employee pool. And so we need to be better at what we're doing, even better. Even those of us, Debbie, Shawn, you guys, we're learning new stuff too, right? We're looking for all the tricks, every single last thing that we can do to wring out the best of the best from the employee pool that there is right now. So do it. I'm excited about it.
All right. And last in this question is Debbie, what do you have to add to this?
Well, I love the energy that Liz Trotter brings to every talk and every training that she presents. And I love the facts and the figures that Shawn brings to the table when it comes to helping us solve problems with hiring and every other aspects of business. And I'm going to be kicking off the first part of the boot camp with how to find and hire A players. A players. So many cleaning companies end up inadvertently with a bunch of knuckleheads, as I like to call them. And of course, to sound a little more professional, we can call those C players. So many cleaning companies are struggling to try to build their company with the wrong team. People that don't care about the job, that cut corners when you're not looking, people that call in absent all the time and you tolerate them week after week because you don't have other options. So I'm going to talk to people in the boot camp around how to find and hire A players. We're going to kick it off with the very first few minutes spending just talking about the myth of the Great Resignation. Everybody thinks the Great Resignation is keeping me from growing. So we're going to address that up front and help you understand how to find people to work. And then, of course, we're going to discuss building your best team, how to improve your candidate pool, because that's where it starts. When we have to sift through a very low candidate pool, it's kind of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which candidate isn't as bad as the other. So how to improve your candidate pool. And then lastly, I'm going to cover say yes to the job, how to get the good ones to show up.
Good topics for sure. I have one more question before we wrap up, and I'll start with you, Liz. What are the key takeaways and business strategies that attendees will receive?
Okay, so in my session, we're going to be focusing in on using DISC as a tool. DISC is a behavioral assessment and how you can use that to help you find the best people or the right people for your company. So that's going to be the very first takeaway is how can you find the exact right people that are going to work the best in your company? A lot of us feel like hiring is just such a I don't know, a nice way to say this, like a crapshoot. Like we're just out there and just whoever comes, that's who we have to take, and we're just stuck. But that's not true. Sometimes just a little tool can make all the difference. So DISC, that's what we're going to show you with that. The second thing is we're going to show you about the environment that you already have in your business and how to bring in the right people for the environment that you have, rather than bringing in people and then realizing through no calls and no shows that maybe your environment doesn't match up with the people that you're bringing on. So that's the second thing that we're going to talk about in my segment. And then I also want to talk about the 3 things that you must do during orientation. Now, I know that this is not specifically about hiring. It sounds like I'm like sliding over there into the retention zone, but I'm considering it part of hiring because if you don't orient people correctly right in the very beginning, you're actually not going to end up with them for even 3 days. You're not going to be able to consider them a true hire. So 3 things that you have to do during orientation that simple. They're simple things, but if they don't get done, you will flounder.
That sounds interesting. All important for sure. Debbie, let's go to you next.
So I agree with Liz. Simple is what works best in a company. If you want to grow and scale and grow into a big company, we've got to keep things simple. So one of the takeaways from my talk will be that you will leave with a tangible, tactical list of places to find where the workers are hiding. They are hiding in plain sight, and we just don't know where they are. So we're going to let you leave with a list of places that you need to look for the best candidates. And then in terms of building your best team, how to improve your odds at attracting the right people to come in the door and take up your time during the interview process. So how to improve those odds, because basically it is a numbers game, and I'm going to share the numbers with you. And then in terms of how to get the good ones to show up, what's the likelihood that when you're all excited about a candidate and you leave on a Friday with an offer for them to start on a Monday, what's the likelihood they no-show you again and again? And what are those odds? So we're going to talk about the numbers, the odds, and how to win at focusing on the numbers and play the numbers game.
Yeah. Well, how frustrating that must be to find the right person and they don't show up for work, but that's good stuff. Thank you for sharing those tidbits. Shawn, we're going to wrap it up with you. Go ahead.
Both Liz and Debbie said the word simple. I am the most simple human being on the planet. Trust me on that. So I'm going to talk a lot about the mindset. And I know that's sort of a platitude nowadays. We always talk about it, but we're going to go deep into things like perception versus truth and things like that I've talked to thousands of business owners, like my two partners here have every year. And there's things that I hear constantly that pop up. So mindset is going to be something we're going to talk about. And at Blue Sky Services, when we hired 40 people at that one office location, the mindset is completely different than what it was just a couple years prior to that. So mindset's one. We're going to talk about how to automate your recruiting system. I don't just mean, a little bit of automation, but I'm talking like if 10,000 people applied for your job at the exact same second, I can show you a system, which is our system. I'm going to show it on the boot camp. Within seconds, I will be able to tell which one of those 9,000 are not qualified. Furthermore, we're going to automatically text them, thank you very much, but go away, in a nice professional manner. The ones that do qualify, we're going to send them an automated text and email. It's automated, so they get it in seconds, that says, man, did you do really well on those questions? We can't wait to get you into ba-ba-da-ba-doo. And it's phenomenally impressive when you do that type of automation. People apply for jobs and show up to interviews. So that's the other thing we're going to talk about, really how to automate that. And then the last thing, or another thing I should say, is the one piece of data that you need to find to hire the best employees. And it really can be coupled with what Liz is talking about, and Debbie, with Liz with the DISC profile, and it's certainly the things Debbie's going to put on the table. So that's critically important. One thing, and that's the most important thing to find out about an employee that you want to hire. And then lastly is our interviewing. We interview completely different, and there is a mindset to that that has just changed everything for us. The way that we interview, and I'll just say it's the biggest sale of your life. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It all sounds pretty simple. I know there's a lot of details, but the simple thing for everyone to do is just sign up and attend this boot camp and really take away the strategies you need to find the best workers. Thank you all for your time today.